Today we're going to harvest some medicinal herbs, and I will show you how I harvest them and how I process them and dry them to store them so we can use them throughout the year to support our bodies in a natural way. Spring is the perfect time to harvest medicinal herbs that grow wild wherever you live. A lot of the leaves that you would like to use in tea, for example, like dandelion and nettles and plantain, they kind of tend to get harsher with the heat of the summer. And so in the spring, they're fresh, vibrant, and gentle. And we don't have to go far to find the first ones. There is an abundance of dandelion growing all over our lawn. And it is so beautiful this time of the year. It is yellow everywhere. So I'm going to harvest some. I like this one here. You notice this one here. This is a patch of the lawn that doesn't get mowed. And so it gets to grow tall. And so for dandelion is, like I said, bitter. And it tends to be used a lot to ease digestion and also a support for the health of our liver. And the leaves in the spring are gentle. They're edible. They taste really good. A little, peppery. You can use them in salads. I collected a bunch of blossoms that I would add to a salad for a pop of color. And of course, you have to watch out wherever you're harvesting because they might be using weed killers or other chemicals that are not safe to eat. But here in our lawn, we don't use anything. We mow and let the grass fall where it falls and become food for the soil itself. And I know that we can eat them. But the flowers are not bitter. They have a sweetness to it. It's really good. I think it's hard to see in the camera what I'm doing here because there's so many plants together. But this is a dandelion. This is the taproot of a dandelion, and this is the part that is most commonly used. There's a lot of herbal coffees that roast dandelion and use it as a coffee alternative. I will wash it and chop it up, and then I am going to let it dry, and I will make a tincture with it. I will blend it with alcohol and let it sit for 7 days. Then I will use that tincture as a bitter tincture before eating to help digestion. You see the new dumpster? We're going to get rid of a lot of the floor in the barn upstairs. And all of the parts of the plant that I don't want, I will dump them in the chicken coop. This is one of my favorite parts of the land. It is so beautiful here. There are some gorgeous trees in this kind of forest area, covered with fern, lots of hostas, peonies, so pretty. And there is a beautiful patch of nettles that grows here. So all of this is nettles. There's a lot of dry winter stuff that needs to come out of this area that I haven't gone into. All of this, it needs love. This is a very woodsy area. I don't mind leaving it here. It'll break down, become food for the plants. Nettles is one that gets a lot of beetle pressure in the summer. And they eat the leaves, and then it's not a good plant to use. So I like to collect quite a bit in the spring, which actually helps the plants because wherever I cut, it branches out in tubes. You know, people don't like touching nettles. They are not as stingy in the spring as they are later on. It is stingy though, don't get me wrong. My hands are feeling it right now. I kind of like it. I don't know, maybe it's a bit how people enjoy the pain of getting tattoos. I associate it with that feeling, but I know there's analgesic properties in this thing, and so I don't really mind. But if I was going to collect a lot more today, I would probably wear gloves. If you get too much of it, you can actually develop blisters. And it's the kind of stinginess that comes back for a few days, kind of like reawakens and can be uncomfortable. So definitely wear gloves and cutters wherever you are. And so this is a really big patch of nettles. So it feels very bountiful to me, and I feel like I can harvest quite a bit. When we talk about harvesting in the wild, especially if it's not your land and you don't know the patch and how it reacts to your harvest, it's very important that you observe. Is it a healthy patch? If it's not, don't take from it. Let it conserve its energy. Is there a lot of it? And if there is, then feel free to grab some. But maybe try not to grab more than like 10%. You're just one person who might be harvesting from that. Honor the plant. Spend some time with it and, thank her for her gifts and for how her wisdom is going to support and nourish your body. I'm going to grab just a few more nettles. I really like using them fresh in soups. They have almost 3 times the amount of protein than spinach. They're obviously not stingy once they're dry or once they're cooked. And then I also like to use them in herbal infusions because they have lots of minerals like calcium, magnesium, iron. So I use it on my nourishing blend. I use it on my mother blend and on my winter blend to support the body in replenishing. Here is another ally I love. This is burdock. This one with this really big leaf. It's a bitter leaf. They can be used in cooking when they're young. This is not young. This is mature. This is young. I know some people use the leaves of burdock in infusions, but I have mostly used the root. Burdock is a biannual plant. It lives for 2 years and then it dies. The first year, she is very young. I have a few examples here on the side. It just grows leaves. The second year, it gets really big with these giant leaves that look beautiful. And then it grows a tall stalk with flowers that become this obnoxious seed pods that get stuck to everything. Mostly my dogs, covered in these super sticky seed pods. So in my opinion, the best time to harvest burdock is in the spring of the second year. So the root is strong. It is looking really healthy and happy this spring. And before it starts to pull all of its energy towards building that flower. Of course, I want it to keep coming back, so I'm only harvesting a few. But there's plenty to go around, so I need to let some of those go to seed, even though I don't like the seeds, because I want to keep seeing burdock pop up in my land. This is a brand new burdock plant, and this looks like a new plant too. So this year it will only grow leaves, but this one will flower. I am not the most graceful burdock harvester. The root goes deep, and ideally, I don't break it too much so I can get as much as I can from it. And so with burdock, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in little bits before it dries. It becomes hard and it's much harder to cut. It is good for digestion. It is good for elimination for times when you feel stagnant and you want a little bit of help kind of detoxifying. It is very nourishing. I might make a tincture that will help with digestion, especially when I'm traveling. Digestion gets more complicated, and having a tincture just makes really easy support when you're traveling. It's harder to make teas. You can also make a decoction with it. Roots like dandelion and burdock root benefit from longer cooking because they are hard, and so the water softens it and is able to pull out more nourishment from it. Another way to use burdock that I really like, the same as dandelion root, is I will let it dry in little bits and then I will throw it on my blender and make it into powder. And then I will add it to my soups. And so you don't really taste it. You are bringing in all of that nourishment. So I have a spice blend that I make for my shop. It's called Hearty Soup, and it has dandelion root. It also has nettles and shiitake in it because these are such nourishing herbs, and it's just great to find ways to eat them completely. When you're steeping herbs in herbal infusions like I do every morning, you are only taking in some of it, right? The plant stays in the teapot. So when you make them into powder and you use the entire plant in soups, then you get so much more from them. I like to see how it's looking. I can't push too hard like I do with dandelion because there's a lot of root that I don't want to lose. So if I push too hard, it'll break, and a lot of the root will stay inside. I got this piece and this piece. See how big it is? And it keeps going. So this was a touch here and it would keep going. But this is enough for a tincture that, could last me months because I will only use it when I need it. This is a very disruptive harvest when you're harvesting the root of a burdock. So I like to fill it up again with the dirt that I removed and not leave giant holes in the ground. Just give it some love and, allow myself to feel grateful for the gift that this plant is going to give me and my family. Some plant ASMR. This is the side of the barn where we worked on the peonies. Look how beautiful they are. They are going to bloom soon. So exciting. So when I was cleaning this area, I noticed there was a big catnip plant here. And so I wanted to let it grow bigger. It's not a good place for it to grow, but I'm going to harvest it all. Catnip, we know that cats love it, but it's also really calming and soothing for our nervous system. You can drink it in tea like you would mint. It's also good for digestion. So many herbs, when you drink them as an herbal infusion, are going to support your digestion because they have enzymes and they have anti-inflammatory properties and all kinds of good things. Catnip is really good for the nervous system, for calming down, for easing anxiety. And I'm going to take this whole lady off of here and we're going to rinse it and dry it and use it for tea. It smells incredible also. It is growing kind of in between these two pieces of wood. How hard it's going to be to pull it out. There you go. I want to take out this root so it doesn't grow again. It's not a good place for catnip. It's not a good place for anything. It's not cold anymore. Okay, I don't need the shovel anymore. Nor do I need a coat. What I do need is my knife. Here's another plant that is growing in a not ideal spot and that we can harvest easily. This is motherwort. I don't think of it as much as a nourishing herb as it is a companion for certain times of the year. Motherwort is often used to support the nervous system, emotional balance, for an overwhelmed heart. True to its name, I find motherwort to be an ally in motherhood for a tired mind, especially great for menstrual tension, for PMS, for those times when we're feeling really heavy. Motherwort is a great ally. I would make a tincture with it by blending it with vodka and letting it sit for a week and then straining it out. Or you can just dry it and keep it to make tea for that premenstrual part of your cycle. This is mullein, fairly recognizable medicinal herb. It has this beautiful quality of big, kind of grayish leaves that are hairy and so beautiful. Mullein is a biannual plant as well, just like burdock. It sprouts from seed one year and it grows a plant that looks beautiful like this. And it's such a gorgeous ornamental, isn't it? And so resilient. It'll grow so easily. And then the next year, it climbs up into a flower stalk with these yellow flowers that the bees love, like a whole stalk of them. And then it spreads its seeds, dies, and starts the cycle again. And this plant, if you look at the leaves, don't they remind you of the lungs? We think of mullein as a plant that helps open and move things around. So when your lungs are dry or irritated, or there's a lot of congestion that is kind of stuck in there and it's not coming out, then mullein is a good ally for that. You can make an herbal infusion with it. You can let the herbal infusion cool down and use it as a neti pot and use it on a neti pod to just kind of drain your sinuses, to help drain your sinuses. You can put it in a steamer and inhale the vapor. You can smoke it to get it to your lungs. Various ways to use this beautiful plant. I love the stalk, and recently I saw this idea of grabbing the flower stalks once they're dry and dipping them in wax and just using them kind of as taper candles. I really want to try that this year, so I'm not going to harvest the entire plant. I'm just going to take some of the really healthy big leaves at the bottom, but leave plenty of leaves so the plant can recuperate from what I'm doing to her. Look at this one. They're beautiful. Thank you, plant. Thank you, Mama Mullein. This is plantain. There's a few varieties of plantain. There's broader leaf ones and thinner leafed ones. This is common plantain, and it started growing here in the vegetable garden, and it was looking so healthy that I left it knowing I would harvest it. So plantain is a cooling plant, and it's great for times when your skin is irritated, bug bites, burns. So my favorite way to use it is to put it in, make a salve with it. So I'll use olive oil to infuse with plantain leaf. I will blend them together and then I'll let it sit for 6 weeks. Actually, I don't do that anymore. I will blend the oil with the herbs and then I will put it in my dehydrator at 100 degrees for 24 hours. And then I will make a salve with it. So then we have it at hand whenever we're hurt. Especially in the summer, right? When you get bug bites, when you get sunburn, you get all kinds of gardening irritations. If you have plantain growing in your garden and one of your kids gets a bug bite, you can just grab a fresh leaf and smash it and then just make a poultice. You just put it on the skin and wrap it up with some gauze and it takes the sting away. The last herb we're going to harvest today is lemon balm, but I have to take you back to the barn. Oh, there are 2 herbs we can harvest here. This is a great time to harvest oregano as well. So this was the water tank when they had cows here. And it's really close to the chicken coop back there. So the chickens like to scratch in here, which makes it hard to grow things. But I have a lot of strawberries growing. There's a lot of oregano popping up here. And in the summer, this oregano gets a lot of pests. So this is also a great time to harvest oregano. And I will just rinse it, dry it, and use it for cooking. I also use oregano on my immunity blend because it is such a great ally when you are fighting colds. And this patch of oregano is so prolific. It takes over the entire bed by the summer. So I feel really confident cutting a lot of it. This one here is comfrey, and we are not going to harvest her because she's very young. Comfrey is a fun plant for gardeners because it helps produce really nourishing compost. So my goal with this one is to let it grow really well here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut big leaves and just chop it and drop it around my fruit trees. It is very nourishing, and it's especially a really good source of potassium, which plants need to grow leaves and fruit. So I am especially growing comfrey here so I can support and build the soil around my fruit trees. Here's a beautiful patch of chives, and I like to use these fresh. So I will come as I need them and cut them. Once these guys flower, they are delicious in salads or in a stir fry. And if I wanted to, I could also harvest some now that is looking so healthy and dry it to use in the winter. We have lemon balm growing up here, but a lot of it is growing down here as well. So I am going to cut it. So this is lemon balm, and lemon balm is just incredible. It is great for digestion. It's great for your nervous system. It is so calming, so supportive. It tastes so good. So it's so easy to use it as a base for an herbal blend, or if you want to, for example, motherwort doesn't taste as good. So if you mix it with lemon balm, then the flavor of your herbal infusion is so much more delicious. And you get so much support from both during PMSing or just heavy stressful periods or heavy overwhelm. Lemon balm is the base of my immunity blend. It tastes delicious, so it allows me to add, I have ginger and white sage and oregano and thyme in that blend, and lemon balm just helps the blend still be really soothing and smooth while having some really intense herbs. And it is also traditionally used to support the immune system and to support the body fighting viruses, especially during cold season, which is why I use it on my immunity blend. So these guys, I'm just going to rinse them and let them dry and use them in tea. I mean, you don't have to let them dry. You can make tea right away with them, and it is a delicious tea. Yeah, you don't have to dry any of these herbs. You can use them right away, but of course, if you want to keep them for longer. And so the goal during the spring season is to slowly collect enough herbs. And usually I'll just collect as much as I can of one herb, process it, and then collect another. But for the purpose of this video, I'm just collecting small amounts of each. And then I stock up my apothecary so I can support myself and my family during the rest of the year. Oh, I wish you could smell it. So good. Here's another plant that is growing kind of in the wrong space. This is not a great place for a wild raspberry to grow. So I have been letting it grow a bit so I can harvest it for raspberry tea, to make raspberry tea with it. And here's another motherwort. This one can go as well. So we have more motherwort. The raspberry has spikes, so I will definitely wear my gloves for this one. But you can't see it so well with all this grass here. Not even good place for these grass. Okay, there you go. So, see what we have. Looks like it's planted. There is a main root here. Okay, this is not very helpful for you, but if I was going to harvest raspberry leaves for tea, I would not be pulling the root of the plant, of course, right? I would just be pulling leaves. And so in the spring, the leaves are so green and fresh and beautiful that it's the perfect time to harvest. So you could just cut, pull out a few of the leaves and use them for tea. We have plenty of wild raspberries growing everywhere that we love and enjoy, but this is just not a good place for that because I'm trying to grow lavender in this little garden area outside of the veggie garden. So we're going to pull it out completely. And I will probably remove the roots from here and let it dry like this because it's going to be easier to just pull all the dry leaves off of the stem instead of trying to do it right now with gloves. But raspberry is commonly used in pregnancy because it helps tonify the uterus, especially in the third trimester. I love it because it is a nourishing plant that really supports hormone balance in women. And I like the way it tastes. It's delicious. I use it on my nourishing blend as well as a hormone balance component of a very tonic blend. So when I think of nourishing blend, it is not something you drink in a moment of need. It is something you drink daily because you are adding so many nutrients to your body and just like really refilling the well and supporting the tonification of all of your organs so everything just works smoothly. And raspberry is a great ally for that. Maggie! Maggie! Hi, baby. Who let you out of the house? Who let you out of the house, baby? How do we keep these dogs safe? Well, not these dogs, right? Because we only have one now. How do we keep our dogs safe? Oh, Maggie Deuce. Okay, let's go inside, Maggie. Come on, Maggie. I didn't let Maggie come out with me for this video because I felt like I needed to focus on so many things and I really need to be watching her. I am letting her walk with me whenever I'm doing something specific and I can keep an eye on her. I am putting her on a leash and sticking it to the ground wherever I am when I can't fully pay attention to her. And if I'm going to be really busy, I'm leaving her in the house. But I hate leaving her in the house. I like having her with me. Okay, we have a lovely bounty of herbs to process and dry. Okay, so this is the dandelion root that we got. And so the way I will deal with that is by chopping it up. and then I will let it dry. And I could just blend it on vodka right now and make a tincture, or I can let it dry and store it. Either way will be fine. Okay, now this is burdock. I am going to cut this also, because once it dries, it becomes really hard and almost impossible to cut. And once it's dry, I'm going to put it on my Ninja blender, and I am going to powderize it and use it in my soups as digestive support and as nourishing support. And then the rest of the herbs just need to dry. Actually, these nettles, I am going to go ahead and take them to my kitchen and use them on a soup I will make today, so I won't let them dry. Now we have catnip, mullein leaves. They're so big they take up a lot of space. This is lemon balm. These are dirty. Plantain. I don't have to let the plantain dry before I infuse it with my oil, but I will let it sit for at least 24 hours just so a lot of the water goes away. And then I will blend it with some alcohol that will help pull out a lot of its properties. And then it'll be infused in olive oil. Big raspberry, oregano, lemon balm, and motherwort.